of my 20 years on this show, I have got a soft spot for members of the United States military who fought in the Long War. Senator Tom Cotton started appearing on this show before he was elected, as did Dan Crenshaw, Mike Gallagher. John James has been on a lot. He's going to be the new senator from Michigan. He's coming on tomorrow. And the latest entrant, Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt is a native of Houston, Texas, from a military family, went to St. John's School. After his graduation from St. John's, he went to West Point. Sadly, not a Navy man. He's a West Point man. Commissioned in the U.S. Army. Spent 8 years in the Army in the aviation branch. He flew the Apache helicopter, did a combat tour in Iraq, 2 deployments to Saudi Arabia. Then he got out, went to Cornell University, which I believe is a degree granting institution, got his MBA, went back to work in Houston, got married, and he's a new dad. Good morning, Wesley. Welcome to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Great job, Hugh. Thank you so much for having me, sir. Really appreciate it.
Of all that stuff, the new dad running for Congress is the thing that makes me most admired you. That is crazy. How's the baby?
The baby is amazing. Her name is Olivia Lily. She's about 3 weeks old. And I tell you what, it makes it very easy to get up and do this every day when you see a face like that. Because you know what you're doing it for. It makes it really easy. So
yeah, you're not sleeping anyway. You might as well get out there and work. Tell us about the 7th District and why you decided to run this year. It's going to be a tough year. It's a hard year. Everybody's pouring, I guess the Democrats are pouring a wave of money on top of your head. And I want people to go to wesleyfortexas.com if they want to help you. But why did you get into the fray?
Yes, I am running to preserve our values and our way of life down here in Houston, Texas. This is the energy capital of the world. And my district has the entire energy corridor in it. So I would argue that this is the energy district of the world. And we need people to defend our values here in Houston. I come from a military family. As you stated, my dad did 23 years in the Army. I'm a West Point graduate, did 8 years active duty. My sister is a West Point graduate. She did 23 years active duty. My brother is also a West Point graduate, but he did 5 years in the Navy, but we don't hold that against him.
Oh, and good for him. We got one right. My son-in-law, and nephew are all active duty Navy, so we're just not going to be agreeing when they meet in the game.
Yeah, that's right. There's about 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family, and obviously, when you have 3 kids that come from three siblings that all went to West Point, pretty conservative home. And the same in Texas that created the Hunt family has got to be intact, not just for my 2 daughters, but for everyone's children and for everyone's grandchildren. And when you see the direction of the country right now, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed, I don't want to hear that. This is the wrong direction. We need leaders that are willing to sacrifice again, take on this mission, and I consider this to be my next deployment.
Well, Wesley Hunt, I found out about you from Dan Crenshaw when he made that great video. I can't keep track of the House races. There are 435 of them, right? I don't know who's running. And then Dan Crenshaw makes this video, and they got this Apache helicopter pilot. So I assume, like John James, you were a fighter helicopter pilot. That video, and then you show up on Rogan's podcast. So all of a sudden, you've become the flavor of the day. What do you think about this sudden attention?
I think it's exactly what we need. And this is the kind of young conservative leadership that people are yearning for right now. The best part about that video is the idea that we are relating a conservative message to the next generation and doing it in a very nuanced way. We're the next generation of young conservatives that are going to lead this country here in the future. Anytime somebody asks me, oh, Wesley, are you concerned about where we're going to be in the next 10 years? I say, absolutely not. Because this is why young veterans get into the breach right now to ensure that we have a future. And one thing about John James, he's actually my West Point classmate.
Oh, is he really?
Or so tell him I said hi tomorrow.
I will.
We were in flight school together. And one fun fact, his unit is the unit that replaced my unit in Iraq.
So which base were you? Where were you flying out of, Wesley Hunt?
I was in Camp Taji, Iraq, which is in the northern part of Baghdad.
Right, so when you flew helicopters coming out, obviously nothing's going to rattle you, right? Because you're low to the ground and you're in the fray. Nothing's going to upset you about this campaign. But how do you compare a campaign to win a war with a campaign to win a congressional seat?
You have to be adaptable, and you have to work tirelessly, and you have to know that people have invested in you. It's incumbent upon you to do your job to invest back in them. It's the sense of duty. Literally, our motto at West Point is duty, honor, country. And when you're willing to put your life on the line for this country, like many of us have done, many brave and men and women have done, it makes running for Congress actually pretty easy because it's just another form of service. And the discipline to get up in the morning, go to the meetings, make the calls, and doing it because you have a sense of duty for this country, you're absolutely right. It makes it easy. And I always remind people that, look, at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says about me on Twitter or on social media, I'm not getting shot at.
You're not.
So
You're not getting.
I'm
Let,
gonna
let
be.
me let me remind people, wesleyfortexas.com. What is the money race like? I know that they're pouring money on your head from the other side. Are people around the country rallying to wesleyfortexas.com?
We need all the help that we can get. And yes, people are, but as you know, Nancy Pelosi is funneling money into this race through Act Blue. It's coming in from California and New York, and they're trying to buy the energy capital of the world. And that's why I'm here, because we have got to stop them. And I tell you what, we're doing well down here in Texas. And if it's Texas versus the world, I'll take Texas. However, we're going to need your help as well in order to get across the finish line. I made a joke the other day on Fox News. I was talking about how we have the Alamo here in San Antonio, and it was defended by many brave Texans. But Davy Crockett was from Tennessee.
But you
So,
know, Ohio's contingent, the Burgee of Ohio, where I'm from,
yeah,
Wesley,
yeah.
hangs in the Alamo. So we were there too. So my Buckeye listeners can give the Wesley for Texas. Tell me about the seventh district. Where is it? Because we're on in Houston. I want people to know when they're a seventh district voter. They can go to keepamericaamerica.com, find out where to vote. But where is the seventh district specifically in Houston?
Seventh district is in the western suburbs of Houston, Texas. The major subdivisions are West University, River Oaks, Bel Air, parts of Meyerland, Memorial Villages, Tanglewood, the entire energy corridor out to Katy, and then it catches the western part of Cypress north of I-10 in Jersey Village, roughly.
And, and so tell me, is the National Party, is Senator Cornyn who's running, been down there with you? Has everybody showed up for you?
Yes, everybody showed up for me. We are really putting together a pretty good coalition. And even as you saw in that video that we did with Dan, even us candidates that are just surrounding each other are giving us the best support that we possibly can. And Dan's been an unbelievable asset in this entire process.
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw is one of our brave new superstars in the Republican Party. I've been at this since 1976, Wesley. You weren't even born. And I'm a Republican. Everyone knows that. But we have to regenerate the bench. And I don't think there's anyone better than people who have worn the uniform of the United States who have gone out there and faced the enemy. And you did that. Then you went to Saudi Arabia, and you know energy because you also know Saudi Arabia. What was your post over there? Were you doing diplomacy?
Yes, I was. I was a diplomatic liaison officer, primarily focusing on foreign military sales. Obviously, we sell a lot of equipment to the Saudis, and they have U.S. military officers that are there to help negotiate some of those deals. And you're right, it was a fascinating time for us to see, especially when I was there from 2010 through 2012, and to see our oil independence and energy independence now because of hydraulic fracturing is phenomenal because that wasn't the case even when I was there. So now we get to operate more autonomously because we have our energy independence and we're safer. And so when I look at the policies of what a Joe Biden is proposing by banning fracking, and when I look at what Kamala Harris has done by being the co-author of the Green New Deal in the Senate, it's absolutely ridiculous to me, and it would destroy Houston, Texas. And right now, our current Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher has said nothing close to what I just said. She votes with Nancy Pelosi over 99% of the time, like many of those freshmen that got in here back in 2018. And it's time for us to take our voice back. And I learned a lot in Saudi Arabia about energy independence, and it's very important that we get it back.
Last question I want to ask you, Wesley Hunt. Come back next week. Let's make sure we get you on next week as well. Is that do Houston voters get that when they vote for your opponent, they're voting for Nancy Pelosi? Do they understand that? Because I can't understand one Democratic congressman being elected from Texas because Nancy Pelosi is off the map to the left and has no Texas values.
None at all. And we have a saying down here in Texas, don't California my Texas. And it is something that we hold true, and it's important for us to have the resources to get that message out. That's why we need as much help as we can get. We're doing a very good job here, but we have 13 days to finish this thing up strong. And you're right, I do believe that the more people can see candidates like us that are talking pragmatically and can tell the truth about what Nancy Pelosi has done to her delegation. And a vote for Lizzie Fletcher is a vote for Nancy Pelosi because she's proven that we need the resources to get that message out.
You know, 13 Days of Glory at the Siege of Alamo. It's a great day. It's a lucky day to have you on. That's the old song. If I had a producer, we would have played it. Wesley Hunt, great to make your acquaintance. Thanks for your service to the country. Thanks for running. Come back next week. Remember, America, all you have to do is go to Wesley for Texas. Now, you Steelers fan, that's spelled WSLEY for FOR Texas.com.